They're stealing from the sick, stealing from children, stealing from the poor. And in many places around the world, the people responsible don't even hide it anymore. Something is changing in society. People can feel it. Everywhere you look, honesty is disappearing, compassion is fading, and lawlessness is becoming normal. What once shocked people now barely makes headlines for more than a day. Fraud, corruption, violence, looting, deception. The Bible warned that in the last days, evil would no longer stay hidden in the shadows. It would become open, celebrated, and deeply rooted in society. And maybe one of the clearest signs is this. People are becoming comfortable hurting others for money, power, or personal gain. Hello again, seekers of truth. I am the Watchman. Recently, authorities uncovered major fraud schemes involving daycare centers and hospice care programs. Places that were supposed to care for children and comfort the dying were instead being used by some people as opportunities for greed. Think about that for a moment. Programs designed to protect the innocent and help families in vulnerable moments were exploited for profit. In some cases, false billing, fake services, and stolen funds drained money, meant for real people who truly needed help.
Here in Van Nuys, California, massive fraud is taking place with hospice. For instance, this location, Miracle Healing Hospice, billed over $1.3 million. Medicare paid them $966,000. Something interesting about this location, if you come right here to Miracle Healing Hospice and if you want to knock on the door, nobody's going to answer because nobody's actually inside. And so this right here is a prime example of the millions that eventually accumulate to billions of dollars of fraud taking place here inside of California with these things like hospice, home health care, adult day health care as well. And something interesting about this location, these are all hospices. All of these are hospices. But what's super interesting about this is if you take a look at the parking lot, the cars that are in here, you have a Cybertruck, you have a brand new BMW. Over there you have 3 really nice cars, a BMW, Mercedes, and a Mercedes. And these locations are billing millions of dollars. For instance, Guardian of Angels Hospice and Blossom Hospice, they're also here. They've actually fled the location. They billed $4.8 million and $3.4 million. Massive fraud taking place here inside the state of California.
And it doesn't stop there. Even government officials, sworn to protect the rights and freedoms of citizens, have used their positions to take advantage of a system designed to help those in need. Using politics, ideologies, and manipulative tactics, these thieves successfully enrich themselves and others who participated in the scheme.
How did the poorest member of Congress become one of the richest members of Congress in just a few short years and she wasn't even born here? Ilhan Omar is the key to unlocking everything with the Somali fraud. Ilhan Omar has said many times that she is here to represent the interests of Somalia, and that's exactly what she's done in Congress. But she's also represented her own interests. Ilhan Omar entered Congress in 2018 as the poorest members of Congress. She had a negative net worth, negative $65,000 due to student loan and credit card and car debt. You'll find that at $174,000 a year, if she saved every single penny, she'd be worth a couple $100,000 after she paid off her debt. But that's not the case. Ilhan Omar is insanely rich. She's worth $30 million. How did that happen? 2 things: massive fraud and her shady-ass husband and his shady finances, inflating and ballooning exponentially Ilhan Omar's worth. Ilhan Omar passed the Meals Act in 2022. This is an act that majorly deregulated the federal government's oversight of meals programs for children. This is the same act that was used by her friends in Minneapolis in order to defraud the federal government of nearly $500 million. Ilhan Omar even worked at the kitchen that was committing the fraud, feeding the fake children, the real problem in Minneapolis, the daycares and the food centers. But then you get to Tim Minette. This is Ilhan Omar's third husband. This is a shady Democrat operative that launched venture capital firms at the exact same time that Ilhan Omar and her friends were defrauding the American taxpayers with the Meals Act. Those venture capital firms were stacked with Obama and Democrat operatives, and guess what? Their valuation ballooned at the exact same time that the fraud was going on. Also, a bankrupt and fraudulent wine company is also listed on Ilhan Omar's financial disclosures as being something that is paying her something like $1 million to $5 million worth of net worth, even though this company is totally fraudulent. It's not real. You call it, it's not a real number. They've been sued for fraud, by the way. The name on one of their wines, The Devil's Lie. You can't make this stuff up. So Ilhan Omar has become obscenely rich in 1 year, going from one of the poorest members of Congress to one of the richest because of a shady venture capitalist company that nobody knows where their money's coming from, at the same time that the massive Somali fraud's ongoing and being paid by a defunct wine company that doesn't even have an operable phone number. The Devil's Lie. Ilhan Omar needs to be fully investigated for this fraud and her connection to it, and we need answers. We can't run a government like this.
Scripture warned us this would happen. In 2 Timothy chapter 3, the Apostle Paul described the condition of people in the last days. He said, "People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, without love, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God." The issue is not just crime itself, it is the hardening of the human heart. When greed becomes stronger than compassion, society begins to decay from the inside out. Even when greed, corruption, and evil seem to be winning, the Bible reminds us that nothing escapes the judgment of God. People may gain power through lies, wealth through injustice, or influence through corruption, but none of it is hidden from the Lord. Every act of wickedness has an end, and God's justice will always prevail in His perfect time. I am the watchman. Good night.